Here's what they won't teach you in school. America didn't lose manufacturing, we gave it away. Not because we couldn't do it, but because our government policies and corporate leaders made it easier and cheaper to send it overseas. In the 1970s and 80s, U.S. policy shifted. Instead of protecting American factories, Congress cut deals and signed trade agreements like NAFTA and China's entry into the World Trade Organization that made it easy for companies to move production to countries with cheaper labor. These weren't accidents, these were choices made to benefit Wall Street and not working people. As factory jobs disappear, America reinvented itself, but not in manufacturing. We moved to design, branding, tech, and entrepreneurship. Think Apple. See, the iPhone was designed in California, but assembled in China. The money is in the brand, the marketing, the software, not building the product. So America became the land of Legos and not labor. Meanwhile, China did the opposite. See, they focused on becoming the world's factory. They invested in production, they trained their workers, and they scaled up. Now they don't just make toys and t-shirts. They build electric cars, solar panels, and advanced tech. That's why China leads in global manufacturing today. They never abandoned it. But here's the problem. America got so obsessed with being innovative, we forgot somebody else has to build the things we dream up. And now we depend on other countries for everything, from medicine to microchips. The truth is, manufacturing didn't disappear, it moved. And our own policies pushed it away. So when politicians like J.D. Vance or others are blaming foreign workers, ask them this: who passed the laws that made outsourcing easy? Who gave tax breaks to companies that shut down American factories? Who benefits from this system? It's not Chinese workers. It's American CEOs, hedge funds, and politicians. If we want real change, we need to stop blaming them and start holding our own leaders accountable.
So, to answer everyone's question, why don't you just make them in America now? Move your manufacturing here. If bringing manufacturing back to the US is the goal, why are companies like Apple and Microsoft, who are most likely able to bring manufacturing back to the US, off the hook? I get that if we don't let them continue to manufacture in China and exempt them from the tariffs, that our cell phones and computers, which we all use, are going to get ridiculously expensive. I get it. But the latest manufacturing that was done in the US that we were good at was tech manufacturing. And those companies moved their manufacturing to China. They have the biggest pocketbooks. They have the most likely ability to bring that manufacturing back to the US. I'm a small business. I invented a placemat. This is my prototype. I cut and glued this together. I made a product that stops babies from dropping and throwing their toys. It's a placemat. This is the real one. Suction cups on the bottom. Comes with little toy straps that allow you to attach toys so babies can't drop them and throw them on the ground. When my son was born, I had no idea how to turn it into a real thing. I was just a mom. I had a corporate job. I made one for a friend, and she forgot it one night, and she's like, oh my God, it was the worst not having it. I didn't realize how useful it was until I didn't have it. You need to make that for real. And I thought, wow, how would I do that? So I found a product developer who had the expertise to help me design the product for manufacturing. And that American product developer also had a team in China to help me start manufacturing. The reason I could not start my manufacturing in the US is because I am a small business. I cannot afford to make 20,000 units. The reason US manufacturers require such high production runs is because they have to import the raw material. The raw material does not exist in the US. And so they have to import that material in volumes that are big enough to bring down the costs. They also need the company they are manufacturing for to produce large amounts, because every time you switch out the machinery in a production line, you're not making money. It's downtime. So the factories in the US that have very high labor fees, that have very high expenses, they need to make product continually to be able to pay their bills. Totally understand that. So to start my business, we started in China, where they were willing to do very small production runs for us. Because when I invented this and I invested my own money into starting this company, I didn't know if people were actually going to buy it. I didn't know if it was actually, I thought it was a good idea, but I didn't know if other parents would want to buy it. Okay, turns out they have. Cool. So now fast forward 8 years, and I have products sitting in China, ready to come. In my warehouse outside, I have about 2 to 3 months of inventory. When that is gone, I have no more inventory to sell. So then I have to figure out, how am I going to pay my employees, pay my insurance, pay my lease when I don't have any revenue coming in? I have 3 months more product that's ready to ship to the US. However, it's going to cost me, what are we up to now? Let's see, we're up to $229,000 I have to come up with in 30 days just to get it across the border. On top of the cost I've already paid for that product. I own the product. But just to get it across the border, that cost, I have to increase my prices. I have to more than double my prices. I'm selling products to people with babies. They're trying to keep up with so many new expenses in their life, diapers, some getting formula, baby clothes, all the things you have to buy and carry around with you for a baby. While my products are great for baby's development and they make life so much easier as a parent, you don't need them to raise a baby. People are not going to pay double the price for my products. So I can't import them right now, but I also can't run out of money. All right. If I found a factory today that was willing to do this, that had the right equipment, that had the right raw material, who had time, because these factories are already booked. The factories in the US are working hard. They're not just sitting around waiting for new companies to come in. But let's just pretend that one is like, hey Beth, come on, we'll do it for you right now. All right, cool, let's do it. First, we need to make molds. A mold, and I'm going to try and put that a bit in this video, is a steel plate that has cut out the shape of your product. And for my product, they take chunks of silicone, set it on the mold, which is heated, and then they compress it. It's compression molding, and it's heated and it melts the silicone and smushes it into the shape of a mat. Okay? Every piece of my product line has a different mold. The mini mat has a mold, the big mat has a mold, the bottle bungee has a mold, the tethers have a mold. I would need 8 new molds made. So you take American steel, which is not cheap. It gets sent to China to be tooled, to be turned into a mold to fit the shape, because that's where the expertise lies. And then it gets sent back. You do that 2 or 3 times until it's perfect. That process takes like 6 to 8 months. And because of the cost in the US, my molds, at a minimum, if I'm lucky, will be $20,000 a piece. So I need $180,000, $160,000 just for the molds, and I need 8 months to get them made. And that's before I can even start production. One production line with my mat can do about 100 mats a day. We sell more than that right now. So I need multiple production lines. I looked into starting my own factory. The cost of the equipment alone is $1 million. More than $1 million. Then I have to find somebody who has expertise. But since we don't do this type of manufacturing in the US, there aren't people here who have the expertise to run this product line. I have to pay more for insurance. I have to pay more for labor. The cost of my products will more than double. Who's gonna buy them? Nobody. Joe. So for everyone thinking it's so easy to just make it in America, like I'm all ears. I am not opposed to that in any way whatsoever. Tell me how. Tell me what I'm not seeing here. Help me figure this out. Because I'll do it. I will do it. I will make it in America if we can find a way that keeps me in business. Leave a note in the comments, okay? And I will reach out to you.
Back from China to the US. China's factory capacity right now is about 10 billion square feet. The US is only 3.8 billion square feet. If you wanted to build enough to make up the difference, you would have to spend over $1 trillion. Additionally, China employs 99 million people in their factories, while the US only employs 12.7 million. Even if every American who's unemployed was given a factory job, we'd still be 80 million workers short.
It will take 30 years down the line for America to get her manufacturers back to American soil. Why? For the following reason. First of all, America is very expensive. For you to afford the labor in America, it's very, very expensive. And for you to be able to produce products or services in America in a factory, you need to produce millions and millions of units so that you be able to lower your prices and people can afford And right now, currently, the manpower is not available in America. The skills to build these products are not available in America. The cheap labor is not available in America. The equipment is not available in America. Everything that I've mentioned is available, ready to be, you just need to call and give an order, pay up, and it's being done within a period of 1 week and being delivered in America. When you order in China, they have everything and they're just waiting for a call, and that is the reality. Unfortunately, the tariff war that is happening is going to make the common person in America to suffer, especially the people who are in the middle class and the lower middle class, because you are depending on your paycheck. You have a budget. You are literally have a budget that every month I'm supposed to pay up certain amount of money in certain sectors so that I'm able to continue with my normal life, taking care of myself, my family, and of course having a roof over your head, and of course affording food. But with these abnormal high tariffs that are happening right now in America, believe you me, one day you'll go to the supermarket and realize prices, they have double or triple or even being charged 10 times of what you normally used to pay because of the high tariffs. Tariffs are not being paid by countries. Tariffs are being paid by companies. When you order, for example, from China, the company is going to pay that tariff, and then the cost is being trickled down to the common consumer. When you go to the supermarket, you realize the prices have gone high. You are being charged extra for those tariffs, and that is the reality on the ground. And that's the reason why when you go to the supermarket, you're realizing the egg prices are very expensive. When you go to the supermarket and you realize your favorite product is not available because the supply chain has been disrupted, and now you cannot get your favorite product because it's being sourced from a certain country, and as a result of the high tariffs, the company cannot afford to pay that extra money, and they've decided to forgo or close down the business. And that is the reality of what is happening in America. So who's gonna suffer? Of course, the person who's gonna suffer is the common citizen. The common citizen who depends on their 9-to-5 job or paycheck to paycheck. Those are the people who are going to suffer. But the elites, the millionaires, the billionaires, those guys are okay because they can afford to pay the extra dollar. They can afford to travel. They can afford to source materials of food or products from other countries because they have the money. They are cushioned. They have the money. In case of any shock in the industry, they have the money to cushion them. While you who is struggling and the only thing you can afford is basically the necessary basic things in your life, now you're being told you need to cough up extra dollars so they're able to afford certain products because of the high tariffs. And this is the result of the way you voted. Yes, you're being told when you make bad choices, you should be ready for the consequences, and these are the consequences of how people voted. When I see people complaining and say, oh, I regret my vote because I know I'm being affected, what you're saying is you knew exactly what you're doing, but then now since it's affecting you, now you're realizing the mistake you have made. The next time people vote, make sure you do your research so that you vote for somebody that has your best interest at heart. Because right now, with these current policies that are happening, people are going to lose their job, people are going to close down their business, people are going to lose their mortgages, people are going to lose their cars, people are going to find life very difficult because things are going to be very, very expensive as a result of these high tariffs and of course inflation that is going to happen in the country. And time will tell. For the next 6 months down the line, you'll see people, you'll see in the supermarket, prices are literally like double, triple to what you usually pay because of this high tariff. They call it FAFO season continuing. These are the results on how people they have voted. But at the end of the day, the current administration, they did say and promise that when they're in power, when they enter the administration as the party in charge, they are going to do this. They're going to introduce these trade tariffs. They're going to do mass deportation of undocumented immigrants and many other policies, which they're already implementing as we speak. The only result is right now is the common citizen, the common American who depends on their 9-to-5 job are the ones who are suffering. So let me know what you think about what's happening right now. Is the tariffs affecting you? In what way? Let me know, and please subscribe to my channel.